Yes, good afternoon, students, and welcome to the class of Cambridge. We have with us here Anju ma'am. I'll give a brief info about Anju ma'am. Anju ma'am has nearly 2 decades of experience teaching business communication and as a trainer and educator in institutions of repute. She holds a certificate in TESOL offered by Trinity College London, a graduate in education and postgraduate in English. She is currently in the completion stage of PhD in Business English. She is in the last phase of the research. She has completed her training in ICFAI Hyderabad and successfully completed SOFTCOM, a specialized training program for soft skill trainers. She has presented papers in different national and international seminars on topics related to soft skills, education, and personal empowerment. Ms. Anju is also skilled in conducting workshops on holistic learning and personal development for students and teachers. In addition, she imparts training for BEC, that is Business English Certification. She also conducts classes for preparatory exams like IELTS, American Placement Exams, and SAT English. She is sought after by US students for writing college essays. Welcome, Anju ma'am.
Thank you, Janvi, for the introduction.
Yes, ma'am. You may please
Oh,
start the session.
I'm, I'm audible, right? Yeah. So, good afternoon, everyone, and happy to be with the part of the training program. So, you'd have been listening to topics on soft skills, attitude, and today morning you had a session on the practical aspects of where you would put all the skills into writing. That is in coming up with your resume, and how it would enable you to navigate the process of interview, right? So I'll be today focusing on two areas, namely emotional intelligence as well as time management. So it is unit 4 and unit 5. So I thought of um, that is introducing you to emotional intelligence first and then moving on to um, time management. So not ignoring the fact that both are important, equally important, I do believe. But this topics, so right from quite contrary to you had in the morning, this session would be on the emotional aspect or more of soft skills aspect, I would tell you. So let's, without much maybe introduction or maybe introduction, okay, you can have it on in due course. So let's get started. So let me ask you one question. So, are you the captain of your ship? Are you the captain of your ship? Something which you need to think about and something which you need to answer also on your own. So while I ask these questions, you may write down either agree or disagree or strongly agree. And maybe some of you want to change, you can write want to change also. So just to make you understand a few things which we need to know, or maybe a brushing up of a few things which we need to know before we move on to the topic as such. So in due course, I'll be covering these aspects. That is what basically emotional intelligence is and why we need to change, or what aspect makes us change, and how emotional intelligence helps us in crisis management. Why? Because, see, in this packaged world where everything is packaged, education is packaged, information is packaged, the goods we that the service is packaged, what the food we eat is packaged, everything is packaged. And along with that, speed is also another order of the day. So both has impacted our lives in various ways, along with the emerging technologies. So I need not tell you more about the emerging technologies, but these technologies holds wonderful promises to us, maybe in the workplace also, when you start working tomorrow in due course. So we need to know, along with the positive aspects of the impact of new technologies, we need to know we need to understand the threats also, or the dangers of technology too. So technological revolution we may call it, and it is moving at such a pace, or unprecedented pace. So what challenges do we face? So the challenges that we have not faced so far, right? So in your personal lives you face challenges, and tomorrow when you start working also in the workplace you face challenges. So how would you navigate this? So, and this aspect of soft skills, namely the emotional intelligence aspect, helps you to navigate this process and helps you to adapt to these changes. So we cannot, it is not that we cannot be adamant about change. We need to be adaptable to be changed. So how can we be adaptable? And in the same way, when we start working, or in every day, we come across crisis. So how does this aspect of emotional intelligence, or AI, we have heard about AI. People are talking about it. We know the advantages of how it functions also, to a certain extent. But how does AI function amidst AI? That's what we are going to learn, and the importance of it. So again, moving back to the question, let me remind you again, the question is, who is the captain of your ship? So I can achieve anything if I try hard enough. So do you agree to that question? I repeat that question. I can achieve anything if I try hard enough. The next question is, I seldom admit defeat. I seldom admit defeat. The third one, fate plays an important part in my life. I always believe, or that is what keeps me going. It says fate plays an important part in my life. The next one, I prefer to fight my own battles. I prefer to fight my own battles. I am a lone fighter. Number 5, sometimes feel unable to cope with what is happening. So I do not know. I find it very difficult to adjust with what is happening around me, or what is happening within me sometimes. Question 6. You prefer to be told exactly what to do. So unless I get proper instructions, I do not know how to work on my problems. I'll not be able to find a solution to my problems. So I always expect somebody to tell me what to do. Am I that sort of person? Then, of course, astrology, of course, has a profound say. Nothing against astrology, but there are some times when we attribute all our things to astrology too. So astrology has a profound influence. See, these are things which are beyond our control. So it is everything, the blame is put on astrology. It doesn't matter to me at all. Then, I enjoy working independently. I enjoy working independently. And the last one, I wait for help. I always wait for help, as well as sometimes I even wait for advice from superiors or from elders in your case. I wait for help. I wait for advice. So what were your answers? Do you agree with these questions? Do you disagree? It may vary. It may vary. Of course, your answers vary. That is, it varies. It may vary from strongly agree or disagree. Sometimes you may be you can even stand neutral. That's up to you. And am I willing to change? So those people who have answered as willing to change after listening to these questions, they expect change to happen, and they want some change to happen. And there are others who still want or waiting for people to come and let you know. So those who feel that, okay, you still have time to wait, you still, that is time for you to wait, or there is time for you to seek advice. So you are a bit slow. Understand that you need to be proactive. You need to be a go-getter. So there are in life, because there are some things where we need to be proactive too. So whatever happens to us is being guided by our thoughts, our emotions, whether it is good or bad. So the thoughts guide us a lot. So the thoughts reflect, or it comes out as certain emotions. And those emotions, they influence the behavior. And that reflects upon the character of the individual. Sorry, character and then the behavior. So your thoughts are there, that decides on the kind of emotions that you need, that you carry, that decides on your character, and that decides on your behavior. So it's quite a complex thing. It's quite a complex thing. So if we realize, okay, the importance of thoughts, the importance of emotions, and what role they have to play, you'll be able to navigate soon. And you can manage your own ship, or you can be the captain, or you will be the captain of, otherwise somebody else will steer your ship. So what matters here is, are you the captain? So keep thinking about this question till the end, and if you have any questions, you may note it down, and I'll try to answer towards the end of the session. Right? So let's get started with this question itself. Are you the captain of your own ship? So are you steering it clearly, or how can we steer it clearly? That is what we are going to discuss. So emotional intelligence, it is an intangible aspect. Intangible aspect. So emotional intelligence is 4 times powerful than IQ in predicting our success. So what matters in today's world is your emotions, and the ability, the capable to manage your emotions, or the other aspect called emotional intelligence is prominent. That is helpful, or that determines your success. So there are people, managers, you've been hearing stories of successful people. So what do these successful, within quotes, what do these successful people do? So they are people with high levels of AI. So they have the capability to outperform their targets, outperform their ability, outperform whatever is the targets or the tasks given to them, and they know what their responsibilities are. They can prioritize their responsibilities. They can be more productive and show better results. So there are people among, see, it is not that, okay, you do not possess. See, this is a skill which we need to cultivate. So we have this skill already. It is recognizing that, so this 1 hour would make you recognize or realize that you too have the skill within you, and how you manage this skill and practice. Through practice you develop this skill, what matters. So I'll be giving you some tips, I'll be giving you some ways or strategies by which you can develop this skill, and try practicing these skills. So these soft skill sessions that you have over here should be used as a platform to practice or enable to grow your skills. So you have the skill within you. It's only my task is only to make you recognize that it is inherent, and how to develop this through practice. So that would be the takeaway towards the end of the class, end of this session. Fine. So this term was all this is bit theoretical information. So people in earlier times, okay, they preferred that. Okay, they thought that it would be they would work in silos. So gone are the days, maybe in the 80s, 70s and 80s, people thought like that. But now people believe that, okay, they should come forward, they should come together and work as teams, well, as groups, they should work together. So rather than working alone, there are times when you're expected to work alone. At the same time, there are times when you're expected to more of teamwork, more of collaboration will help us to progress. So what helps us to unite, come forward and collaborate is this aspect called emotional intelligence. So this term was coined by Daniel Goleman, and we have and it is the term was popularized in his book Emotional Intelligence, Why It Can Matter More. So moving on to the next aspect. So as I told you, which is important, of course, EI is important. Emotional intelligence is important. So what exactly is this emotional intelligence? What is that ability? So you want to be productive, you're doing a lot of work. So some students, they work a lot. That is, they put in a lot of hard work. But what makes them, so some say that in spite of my hard work, I was not able to reap that particular results. And among yourself, you can, there are some who are very good at listening. They listen to understand things. There are others who share a lot. They want to sharing their ideas with others, sharing their thoughts with others. There are some who take turns when you work in a group or when you work as a team. Then there are some people who try to compromise in the midst of conflict. When conflict arises, these are a few situations that I mentioned just to help you to relate to situations. So compromise during conflicts. Then there are others who volunteer to do their part. Right? There are some others who are very, very much encouraging. They encourage others to do things. So why they encourage others to, or they invite or encourage others to collaborate, or cooperate. They support others. They have that ability to support others. They have the ability to cooperate. Some people guide. Some people lead. Why do they do so? So it is this aspect within us which is present in different levels. You need to understand that it is present in different levels. So your task or your task would be to develop this quality in you or ability in you. That is what you need to understand. So 1 hour is within this 1 hour, you would be taking in tips, you would be drawing in strategies by which you can develop this particular skill, and how it will enable you to maybe gain more of that skills and improve that level or develop that level. So coming back to the term emotional intelligence, it is recognizing, then understanding. Recognizing what? Recognizing the skills, recognize the ability to understand, the ability to recognize, and ability to manage one's own emotions. See, we have our emotions within us, right? A lot of it is very abstract to talk about emotions. That it's an abstract called emotions and feelings that we have, the thoughts that we have. So one has the capacity to know or understand. You look within yourself and try to understand your emotions. Recognize your emotions, the kind of emotions that you have. What are the, even now when we are speaking here in this platform, there are a lot of there are lots of thoughts going on within you. There are plenty of emotions going on within you. So how to understand those emotions and manage them. So there may be, so it may be the emotions of love, it may be emotions of joy, pleasantness, happiness. Hmm? So what makes you happy? So some of you might be extremely happy and joyful today. Some of you may feel sad, or you may not feel that elated as your friend. You may feel a kind of gloomy within you. So have you tried to ponder upon that thought or that particular emotion? Sometimes you feel jealous, sometimes you feel extremely happy, sometimes you feel encouraged, sometimes you feel motivated to be in the class and learn something new. So have you thought about what makes that happen? So it is the, or what makes that emotion go up and down. Sometimes see, there are negative emotions. So if you do not put a curb to it, what happens? It grows and finally eats you. For example, fear is an example of that, a negative emotion. Whereas joy, so you can spread joy to others also. You're happy at winning something, you're happy at seeing something, you're happy at talking to somebody, you're happy that okay, you did something good to others or another person, right? So that so you're cheerful. So that your friendly smile, that itself spreads positive emotions to others, even those who witness, those who behold your cheerful smile, they themselves would be happy. So you can make others happy also. So it is a particular skill which enables you to understand, or that ability to recognize your emotions, understand your emotions, and manage those emotions. So manage it. So once that is managing your own emotions, or understanding your own emotions, as well as understanding the emotions of others. That is what it means. So managing emotions is particularly important when we face certain situations, right? You cannot express your emotions very openly or very bluntly. When you are in your own comfort zone, okay, you can express your emotions, but it needs to be it needs to be curbed, or you need to understand that it is not something which needs to be that is expressed when you are in other situations, or when sometimes under pressure. So for example, while giving and receiving feedback, one example, yeah, that is, you are giving a feedback and at the same time you are receiving. You wrote an answer, so the teacher gives you a comment or a review of your answers. So you are receiving a feedback there. Sometimes it may be a kind of criticism. So how you would receive that criticism? Then meeting tight deadlines when you start working. Meeting, that is, even dealing with challenging relationships. Then not having enough resources. So all these are problems that we face. Then navigating change, as I told you in the beginning. So adapting to change, or see change is imminent. So how would you adapt to that change? Then working through setbacks and failures. So it is not the pleasant picture always, the goody goody picture on the other side, not that alone. There are the unpleasant situations also. We need to think about that. It is, see, easy situations because almost all of us are comfortable tiding that. But what about those aspects, or those situations where we face with conflicts, where we face people with negative emotions like you have, so it aggravates. Where we are in a crisis, or where we are facing challenges, where we have to undertake risks, all these things. So it is there that this skill becomes more important, and at the same time more prominent, I would say. More prominent. It may not be visible to you. This skill may not be, or the ability to tackle your emotions, it may not be visible, or you may not understand that. But a person or the people who are in that is in company with you, the people whom you interact with or the people who interact with you, they'll be able to identify this better than you. That is what, that is another speciality of this soft skills. Right. So so finally understand that it is three words. These are the three words. So recognize your emotions, understand them, and try to manage them. So it is identifying. So identify. So am I capable of identifying my emotion? So what sort of emotion do I have? So for that, a kind of emotional awareness is required. And that takes us to the self-awareness aspect of it. So in order, you see, I need to know, or while you're seated there, you need to know that there are certain thoughts or there are certain emotions happening within me. So how do I understand those emotions? You need to think. You need to think. Try to find out. That is why I asked you that question. Are you the captain of your ship? So think and try to identify that answer. So when I think for myself, I'll be able to determine, okay, this is what is good in me, or these are the emotions that are going on, right? When I am present in the class. What are the sort of emotions? What are the, can you list it down right now? Are you capable? So if you are able to identify, you can list them down. Determine what sort of what sort of emotions they are. So a level of emotional awareness is required for that. So and then the ability to control those emotions, identifying those emotions with emotional awareness. And then the second step is to harness those emotions or tackle those emotions, put a chain, or that is it can be emotions like, okay, problem solving. It can be emotions like maybe tasks, or it may be even related to thinking, my critical thinking ability. So the ability to manage my emotions, that is, am I capable to regulate my own emotions? When I understand that, when I need to help people, am I capable to understand, that is, am I capable to realize that? So if I am, that is, if I am having a better, holding a more responsible, that is a responsible position, so I'll be very much aware that I cannot disclose all my emotions now. I may be angry. I may have some other problems, personal problems that is troubling me or bothering me, but am I in a position to control? So if I am crying, if I am sobbing, and if I am, but that is moving around with a grumpy face, people around me will also be like that. So the ability to identify a certain level of emotional awareness is required. Then the ability to control my emotions, harness my emotion, that is put chain to my emotions. Whenever it says no, you should know, okay, this is not the time to express that, right? You control that, harness those emotions and apply them when time comes. That is regulating one's emotions. So how do I, so that is what, that is what uh, defines, or that is what makes that is emotional intelligence. So what are the framework, or what are the elements of elements that define EI? One is self-awareness or emotional awareness, one's own emotion, and awareness of the self. Okay, my capability. So a self-aware person has the objectivity to seek and accept feedback, the humility. So a person that is, I am aware of myself. I know how to balance myself. I'm capable of, because I am very, that is, I can control my emotions. I can control my thoughts. I very well know to what extent I can go with respect to my thoughts, with respect to my feelings. I know my boundaries. I respect my boundaries as well. So a degree of self-awareness, that is an understanding of one's own self, gives you that ability. The next aspect is self-regulation. As I told you, okay, I know when to put a chain or put a control on my emotions. A self-regulated person. I may feel like shouting at a person, but I know how to control my tongue. Maybe it can be by giving feedback, or it can be by giving my criticisms. So I should know that, okay, I cannot criticize people in public. So if I want to give a feedback which is negative and which I know that hurts a person, I can call that person personally and then say. So that comes out of the act of self-regulation and the intrinsic motivation. And they are self-motivated individuals. So that in the ability to encourage oneself, that determines your standards. So even if you're not capable, or even if you know that you are not, that is, you will not be able to maybe perform well, this it is that encouragement, the ability to motivate one's own self, that keeps you going. So you can develop these skills. Another quality which we always need to think about, for example, I gave you the example of that is listening. Empathy, maybe we may all say listening. It is empathetic listening. Empathetic listening. So try to understand the situation as you understand, that is the situation of the other person, as you try to understand your own situation. That is what empathy means. So empathetic people identify and understand the needs of others. So you may say that, okay, we have been friends so long, but I did not know that you had a quality like this. Why? Because you were not understanding enough. It may be another person who would recognize that and tell you, okay, and give you a gift like this. So when the person gives something, you realize, okay, this person has realized that I need this. So that recognition, or that kind of realization, it comes only with the quality of empathy. The next aspect is social skills and the ability to be a part of a society, be a part of a community. So there, what matters more is the ability to communicate, the ability to interact with people, the ability to empower others, encourage others, manage change. So, and understand that you're not working alone. So when you try to, it is these dynamics that happen when we interact with people. So it is an important skill. In that way, it is an important skill, and it plays an important role in our interpersonal skills also. So one can learn to be an emotionally intelligent person by being, or by knowing the components. The components are self-awareness, self-regulation, an awareness of one's own self, regulating one's own self, an intrinsic motivation, a sort of empathy, having that empathy to change, empathy to understand the needs of others, then finally the conversations that you have. The ability to communicate, or broadly speaking, the social skills. Then how to improve your emotional intelligence. So there are ways to improve your emotional intelligence. So so this crucial factor is what helps us to change. Openness to change. Are you willing to change? Recognizing that, okay, you need to change. So you have been writing answers, you have been doing problems, you have been you have been reading, or you have been learning things in your own way. So one day you realize that, okay, whatever I've been doing, you need to change some things, relearn. And as a result, what happens? You try to unlearn whatever you have learned so far. So see, whichever aspect of life that you take, it can be learning, it can be doing problems, it can be moving from one place to another, it can be the interpersonal relationships. Everywhere this aspect you can feel or you can understand the role of emotional intelligence. That is very critical. Whether you, that is in your role as a child at home, as a son or a daughter at home, your later roles, your societal roles as a friend, as a student, as an employee, as a co-worker, as a manager or supervisor, as a husband or wife, as a leader or a subordinate, whatever be the roles that you're trying to take, it is this aspect which determines. So whenever you that is open, that openness to change, you recognize that responsibility. So moving from one phase to another, that is rather difficult, right? So during in our physical change also, that happens in our mental change also within us, the psychological changes that comes to us, they're also a changes. So willing to accept that, okay, you're moving from one phase of your life to another. When you get a job, when you are in a workplace, when you do your articleship, when you do your internship, whatever be the phase of life, that ability to change, it is this aspect. So an awareness, so one should know, rather than looking outside and blaming on things, have some time to look inward. What are my emotions? What are those negative emotions? List it down purposefully. Spend some time for yourself. How much time are we spending for others? How much time are we spending for unnecessary spending time? We'll discuss that in the next one after the session. So in all these, what you need to realize is understand what your emotions are. Spend time to understand what those emotions are and be willing to change. Be that willingness or openness to change. That it is that aspect which makes us successful. So if you're adamant that, okay, if you're very strong on saying that, okay, I'm not going to change, this is not going to happen to me, your thoughts are not going to change. So change your thoughts and good things will come your way. You'll be able to manage stress, you'll be able to manage difficult problems, you'll be able to take up more responsibilities. Some of us always prefer to move away from responsibilities. If responsibilities are given to you, okay, that's you'll be stressed out. Why is it like that? So it is, so the solution is within us only. The time that you spend for yourself, the time to understand your emotions, observe how you react to people. How do you react to people? How do you respond to people? And let me ask you one question. Do we spend enough time for others? Or are you spending time for yourself? That is in your own, that is in trying to understand, that is likes. So maybe watching videos or chatting. So those are all time wasters to a certain extent. So what recognizing that, okay, is it really important in my life now or at that point of time? Okay, all this is important. But am I spending or utilizing it for the right moment? Okay, let's come back to it. So observe your responses, how you react to people. So by simple observations, that is observing your own thoughts, you can look inward and then you can think about that is improve your emotional, that is you can develop your emotional intelligence. So it is not rushing. You have to spend some time trying to understand what your thoughts are, trying to do that is do a self evaluation. How do you react to stressful situations? I told you about learning, unlearning, and relearning. So whatever you have learned has to be relearned or unlearned. So in order to learn more, you cannot hold on to whatever that is saying that, okay, whatever you know is right. At certain point of time, so that is why people are coming with big innovations, creative things in our lives. So understanding the fact that we should be constantly changing, constantly learning, constantly relearning by unlearning. And that's the only thing that helps us to change. Look at it, look at the way, maybe you can just imagine how a toddler learns to walk by falling. So every time the child falls, he knows. So the next time he walks again. So he learns something and finally he walks, right? From a crawling baby to a walking baby, walking toddler, we call it. So that is one aspect which we need to understand about ourselves. So the ability to look inwards and understand and learn something new, unlearn by unlearning and relearning. How would you respond to, so along with um, your emotions, understanding your emotions, along with knowing how you respond to feedback, along with knowing how you listen to others, how you deal with relationships. You may also look into how you deal with stressful situations. So what is my behavior? What is my thought process when I am feeling stressed? Okay, when I am feeling stressed, heartbeat goes up. That is a physical change. I become very too nervous. My hands become stress. That is sweaty. I am unable to talk. Sometimes my anger grows up. I become too irritated. All these are changes that uh, happen within us. So how do we unfreeze the old and refreeze the new? So it is plainly understand this. Spend some time for yourself and realize and recognize the emotions that are happening within you. What are the emotions that happen within you? So unfreezing the old and rephrasing. So past. So those things that are not irrelevant to the present can be ignored. Those experiences which you try to, which you want to keep it, which will help you, should be kept. And move on. Refreeze the new. So unfreezing. So whatever old behaviors that are not irrelevant, let go of that behaviors. Let go. Then change. Understand and implement change. So that is the difficult part. So the change is moving from one phase to another one, right? So that change is very difficult. See, for example, maybe in your middle school, moving from middle school to high school to your high secondary to the degree. See, that is the most difficult phase. So I do not know how many of you would have really thought about the changes. So please spend some time today itself and try to understand, okay, how difficult was it for you to change from one phase of your life to another one? That is from your younger days to achieving puberty. So that was an important phase of your life. The changes that happened to you, the physical changes, the mental changes, the psychological changes, changes that happened around people who were interacting with you. So that was not easy at all. But you may not have recognized because it became very, that is, it was part of it. But now when you think of the past, you'll be able to understand how far you have changed. So that process sometimes is very slow also. very painful also, sometimes very hard. Sometimes some of the change management changes that we take in life will be very easy, but some changes will be very difficult too. Then once you understand that changes happen, refreeze. So reinforcing that, that is whatever you have changed, so trying to retain whatever is good and eliminate whatever is not that is required. That is what is required. That is what is essential. Then another aspect is conflict. See, we hesitate to change because we are in a comfort zone. Right. Okay. I have my own place. I have my own room. I have my own company. I have my own friends. So somebody there is a change in the environment. There is a shift in all these things. As a result, what happens? That is, you are in the comfort of one zone. That is your own friends. So maybe due to some maybe misunderstanding, you'll have to break up with your friends. As a result, what happens? Then again, that causes a stress in you. Your exam comes. Exam is a cause of stress for you. You haven't studied properly. There is too much to study. How do I manage that? Then you are comfortable in your routine, so you don't want to change the routine also. You are used to sleeping for 6 hours or 8 hours or more. You have the habit of relaxing in the evening or a short nap in the evening. You go to the gym or you play or you maybe chill out with your friends. All these are there. So that is the realization that you need to sacrifice that for the other one. That builds up stress. That builds up a conflict. So it is that aspect within us which does not enable that prevents us from changing or moving away from our comfort zones. It can be extended hours of work. For students, it is always the exam. Relationships, that is the cause of stress factor. So getting accustomed to, okay, you've been using a used to a particular group of team members. You've been doing projects with them and all the projects have been successful. Suddenly there is a shuffling of members in the team, so you have a stressful situation there. So you're transferred to another place, you're transferred from your locality. Then you move to another college, you move to another place, another language, another set of people, diverse habits there, work habits, then the diverse environment, diverse climate, everything is diverse there. So adjusting to those changes is difficult. See, as long as we are human beings, we do have this. But how fast we adapt to these matters a lot. So it is, so that is how, the stressful situation. So these are part of our lives, but so let us sort it out one by one. So when you try to change, what are the advantages that you are going to get? What are the things that you need to sacrifice? Wait out. So it is a step out of your comfort zone. I told you, stepping out of comfort zone, seeking help from others. So people, then there are some situations when you do not know the answer. You may think that you are grown up or you are capable of doing a lot of things. So there are sometimes, okay, Google also fails to give you that proper answer. So seek out help, talk to people. They will be willing to help you out. So always, this is something in the initially also I had put that word, that humility, the humble feeling to understand. If you need to ask help, you should be humble enough and accept the fact that I do not know. I don't know. There are so many things that I do not know. So accepting that I do not know and seeking help of others. That is what humility is all about. Changing negative statements into positive ones. Again, read your thoughts, try to understand your thoughts, understand the emotions that you have. Spend time for yourself, look inward, list down. When you start thinking, it will be a lot and lot more that you'd be thinking about. Right? But when you list it down, it becomes more specific. It becomes more clear to you. You realize, okay, what are the? I was in a grumpy mood today morning. What was the reason? What was the reason? Maybe I did not like the company of people. Maybe not. I did not like the breakfast that I had, or maybe I skipped my breakfast. I did not have enough sleep. I did not do my work. There may be many reasons listed down. So, and what is that one particular reason that made you grumpy? Figure it out. Then, so once you start realizing that, okay, that is the factor, you will start to eliminate that from that thing or from that particular situation. Then you'll feel relaxed. Then you'll feel more confident as to, or you'll feel motivated as to how to tackle that problem. So it's a step-by-step process. Please understand that. It is spending time for yourself. It is thinking about yourself. It is listing down. It is writing down all these things, listing down, not writing down in the form of an essay, listing down, just trying to understand that these are the things and list down these things and assess your progress. Maybe once in a while you refer to it, and when these emotions are stronger, find out. When you're able to manage them, no need. Or that shows that you are capable of regulating them, you try to understand them, or you becoming more responsible, or you are becoming more that is you feel like that is you're becoming more responsible and you try to understand, gauge the situation like that. So this crisis, see, that is, this helps you to navigate, or this helps you to understand the crisis also. So critical situations. So there may be crises, there are crises. There's not may, there are crises in our lives. How do we manage that? It can be a natural disaster. It can be a disaster. It can be a personal something, a loss, a personal loss. So it creates a crisis in our lives. It may be with respect to your job. Again, that creates a crisis. So through self-awareness, self-management, relationship management, and social awareness, we can manage or we are able to manage the crisis. So the most important thing is what is required is that ability to that is the ability to be aware of ourself, self-awareness and self-management. Then it is this awareness or self-awareness and self-management skills that takes us to the next level, that is societal awareness. Societal awareness, when you start, that is when you start working. Of course, you need, or maybe in organizational terms. So that is with regard to an organization, a crisis is that is sometimes a crisis will be it is rarely that we expect a crisis, but there may be disruptive events also. So for example, when everything goes on normally or as usual, we have some things cropping up in our lives. It may be some personal issues. It may be some issues with respect to, it may be some change in something. It may be so for one example was the COVID-19. The pandemic, how it changed this. So there is a disruption caused by these elements. So that also, so it is necessary to recognize these aspects. So crisis management, so through better self-awareness, self-regulation, we are able to manage the crisis. So another aspect is empathy. So when we are working together or when we work with people, try to understand the emotions that other people also have. So we try to work in a place of empathy and manage our own emotions. But at the same time, it is good or it is necessary for us to think about the perspectives of others also. Similar people who are experiencing crisis like us. So it is not that we alone are experiencing this. How did people at that point of time manage the crisis that they faced? A similar crisis in their life, that also will help. So that is why I asked you to talk to people. Seek help from them, people who have already experienced this. When you start working, also seek help from your seniors who have been working there or who have been doing a similar sort of job as you've been doing. So that helps you to navigate the process. So in that way, you'll be able to develop your confidence. So when you start working also, say it is not that, okay, this is required only when you start working. It is required at every moment of your life. So how you control your thoughts, how you react or respond to. So the word react and response, they have two different meanings. They're not the same. Your teacher asks you a question and you respond to the question by saying yes or by saying no or by elaborating elaborating your viewpoint. That is a response. Whereas when you react, so your brother or sister snatches something from you and you snatch away the same thing. So you react or that is you try to irritate the other person. So that is an example of reaction. So reaction comes out without any thinking. Whereas responses, whatever responses that we make, it comes out of thinking. So responses are better. So similarly, the responses, say when you give answering your multiple choice questions. So it is not that you are reacting to the multiple choice questions that you have before you. It is responding that is you think over the answers and you give the correct answers, correct responses. So similarly, see when you face emotional, that is when a level of emotional intelligence can help you to manage the crisis also. So understand the magnitude of the crisis and dispel the rumors. So right now we are people in Kerala are facing a crisis. So there is so much of rumors also going around. So it is dispelling. See, if we rely on rumors, we'll not be able to survive. Fear, that is, we will be struck with fear. It will not help us to move any longer or go forward. So how can we how can we dispel that fear? How can we dispel that rumors and understand the change that we need to, or understand the reality? Act upon. So acting upon means the simple thing is acting upon your own self. So what is that makes you happy? What are the emotions that you have now? How do you build up those positive emotions? How can you instill confidence on others among the employees and make them, how can you be part of a team? See, some of you initially you'd prefer to work alone. Then you realize that, okay, that working alone will not help. So that is every time you do something, record the learnings from the crisis. What did you learn? And that is, and consider them in the crisis management plan. Map the progress. What are the steps that you initiated to handle the crisis? That is what you need to think about. So understand that emotional intelligence is something that is the ability to manage your emotions, the ability, so that once you're able to manage emotions or through self-management skills, you are able to manage people also. It's a capacity, or understand that it is a skill which you can learn over a period of time. So having the right kind of mindset, adopting the right kind of mindset, making your point, staying calm, all these will help in managing the crisis situations. So you can, that is, you cannot blurt out with your emotions. Having the right, adopting the right mindset. So when I am in the comfort of my home, I can yell, I can cry, I can shout. But when I am in the company of my people, or among working with people, I cannot yell. I need to control my emotions. So that understanding, adopting and understanding and adopting the right mindset. Then whenever you feel that, okay, you feel like expressing your point, communicating what you feel is right, by thinking on these aspects, maybe giving the right asking the right questions, asking the right asking the right questions, giving the right feedback, criticizing, all these you need to, that is be carefully while expressing these aspects. That is like your criticisms or comments about people. It can be about your friend, it can be about your people also, people who work with you too. So then again, expressing your opinions, how you express your opinions. So all these will help you to understand that. Then staying calm. So I may say that, okay, you may say that, okay, it is not necessary that you stay calm when you're reacting, or sorry, when you're listening to a controversial topic. You cannot stay calm always, but it's important to keep a level headedness. While thinking, see, it is not an outpour or an outburst of emotions. How can you think level-headedly? How is it going to impact, or how is it going to affect the other person? How is it going to, is it really necessary on my part to express my emotions like this? Does this harm that group of people? All this we need to think. Then only, yeah, that is also a part of self-regulation. So staying calm, understanding, and arguing more effectively. Understand the situation, then try to argue. Understand the communication, what our communication has happened, listen properly, and then you'll be able to give a better response. Acknowledging the emotions of others. When there is conflict, the other people on the other side will be more aggressive. Understand that. Understand that, and then manage the emotions, and then that is acknowledge their emotions too. Acknowledge their emotions. But you need not dwell upon them. So the key is to acknowledge the other person's emotions, but you cannot ignore them. Let them know that, okay, their emotions, that is what I meant by empathy. Their emotions are also equally important. But at the same time, what they think, let them, you can tell them, okay, is it really important? Or that is, you can let them know that you are aware of their, you are aware of their emotions, you are aware of their changes. So better, that is self-awareness, self-regulation, and a kind of encouragement from self that is within you will help you to navigate this process, or navigate change management better. Or it will help you to see crisis management is a, that is, it is crisis management and conflict management, they are two large areas, vast areas, but these are the only points that we discuss, which will help you to manage these manage the processes. So coming to an end of this topic, so let me summarize that. Let me ask you once again, let me conclude with that question that I started off with. Are you the captain of your own ship? So you should be able, I realize that you should not let anybody else steer your ship. So it is you taking control of your ship. That is what matters more. So spend time for yourself. That is, regulate, understand what your emotions are. Understanding what your emotions are, managing them with the right kind of mindset, with the proper degree of self-awareness, recognizing your emotions, once your emotions, what the emotions have on you and have on others, having proper self-assessment, self-control, having trust in you, having the ability to change, and having that is being comfortable in what you're doing. All this helps you to navigate or to carry forward with a better level of emotional intelligence. So with that, I conclude this unit 5. Any questions? Yes, some of you have mentioned that, okay, you are the captain of your ship. For those, for them, congratulations. So keep moving like that. So understand the importance of these things. The only thing is that, see, spending time for yourself right now, because there are a lot many things being told to you. So understanding the importance of spending time for yourself, then um, 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 noting down all the things, positive aspects that you have, finding out what those emotions are, and then helping you to progress or navigate through this process. That is what helps. So moving on to the next topic, that is unit 4, is time management. So time exactly is very critical or crucial. So do you realize the value of time? Or do we really understand the value of time? Uh, so sometimes, see, there are many that is, there are many examples which say the importance of time. And so the recent Olympic uh, um, competitions that we have. So for them, timing is crucial. So those sports persons, athletes, timing is important because their records are made and broken. It is based on time, right? So how do we recognize the determine the fastest runner? Based on time. For them, even 1 second is crucial. Hope you can see the slides. Are the slides visible? Are the slides visible? So here we will be focusing on the importance of time management, the technique of prioritization, and strategies for effective time management. So we all have 24 hours in hand, but we say that, okay, I was not able to manage it. For example, a test, 1 hour. In 1 hour, you're expected to complete 75 questions, or 75 minutes, or you have 75 questions in 1 hour. And after the exam, you say that, okay, I was not able to, I knew all the answers, but I could not manage my time properly. A usual answer which we get to know from students. Why? So through practice, you'll be able to manage your time also. But we know, okay, we know the time to have our maybe our routine things. So here let me give you an example. Take a glass jar or a glass container, and you place rocks, a few pieces of rocks, then add a few pebbles to it, then add sand to it. So you have that particular quantity with you. So you'll find that the glass container is not able to contain all the elements like rocks, all the rocks or the pebbles and the sand. So you can remove them and then first add rocks, then the pebbles slowly, or then sand, then the pebbles, then sand again. Then you'll find that the glass jar could accommodate everything properly. So what is useful? Identify what is useful and what is not useful in our daily life. So there are a lot of time wasters in our life. There are a lot of time wasters. So people who are more productive, who are capable of doing a lot of things, people who work, we can say that we say that, okay, that is who are able to manage their deadlines. Okay, you have to submit an assignment on a particular day. That is, you complete it with proper, that is referencing, then you complete that within proper time. So every year, at the end of the year, almost all of us make resolutions, and this is one of the top in our list, that is managing our time or finding time for all the activities that we have listed out. Right? In another way, we are actually finding, time for the activities, or we are finding, that is, we want to manage our time for these resolutions. So how can we manage our time? That is what we'll be discussing. How to manage our time. Right? Planning about your time. So what is the time that you spend in class? What is the time that you have free? How do you divide it? What are the activities? So there are so many tools. So at the end of the day, when you go to bed, you go frustrated because all the activities gets piled up. You were not able to complete it. So you should know what is the priority of each activity, so that you'll be able to complete time. Priority of completing that. What are my activities, or what are my priorities as a student? At home, what are my priorities as a son, as a daughter? Am I completing those tasks properly? Am I able to do the tasks on time? When I say do the tasks on time, it is completion of tasks properly or appropriately. So does it give a sense of satisfaction? For example, if you ask me, okay, cooking, how much time do I devote for cooking? Am I devoting adequate time for it? That is something which I need to be very careful about, cooking for the entire family. So how much time do I devote for it? So am I resorting to any shortcuts? Because I'm concerned about the health of the family members. I should take care of. That is what is meant by it is not merely the completion of tasks. Okay, I have to be present for the class from 3:30 to 5:30. I am present. In that way, okay, you are completing that time. But have I made use of that time? Have I really understood what my duty was? Have I really enjoyed the time that I've been present in the class? That is what you need to ask. Have I really made use of the time, or did I waste the time that was before me? So again, see, this takes us to the aspect of self-management. See, there is a solution for all these things. Students usually ask, see, I'm not able to focus, I'm not able to concentrate. Why? So there are so many distractions around us. So the focus within one's own self, each time you get distracted, you pull back. You are in control of yourself and then you pull back. It's a conscious effort. So initially it requires a conscious effort to pull your mind back to you. And through gradual process, you'll be able to control yourself. And that leads to self-management. It's something which is really hard. Those who have been practicing and those who are aware of yourself or knowing more about you, that is good. But those are others, those who feel that, okay, it is after having listening to these classes, you'll feel that, okay, there is a need to improve upon this. For those, it is necessary that you should start working on them. You take the success stories. People say that, okay, they have been spending systematically or consistently for these many hours in their studies or in doing something. Aspirants, civil service aspirants, or even successful chartered accountants. Because it is hard, so they put in that effort, recognizing that it is their priority. That's the sole importance. They are being guided by that. And that's the reason. So on the work front, time management enhances. So if you are able to manage your time, what happens? You need not take it to the home also. You'll be able to complete your work in time at the workplace itself. So that that improves your efficiency and contributes immensely to an organization profitability. Same is the case with you. So you have deadlines, you have assignments to submit, you have exams to pass. You have quizzes, you have multiple choice. So different types of exams you'll have to carry. That is, you will have to attempt yourself. So for all this, you realize that, okay, you need to devote some time for it. So understanding the priority and devoting. So right now, what I would like to say is understanding that you are important. So all these years or all my years, I was interested in so many other things, external, of course, fine. There's no harm in it. But now let me devote some time for myself and try to sort out things for myself. Then the attempt that you make is really important. So it is beyond, as I told you, it is beyond, it is recognizing that aspect. So it is beyond completion of tasks. It's a value system which involves the commitment of your individual. Whatever be it, let it be painting, let it be engaging in your hobby. So why do you find time for your hobby? Because you are interested in it. Your interest matters. Hobby, it's a hobby is something that you like or you're passionate about doing it during your spare time. So why do you involve in that? It is because of your value system. That so the value system that you have, so you find time for you. I like painting, I like listening to music, I like to listen, I learn singing, I like singing on my own during my spare time. That's my hobby. So it creates a value system within us which involves the commitment of the individual to a much more disciplined way of life. So it is this disciplined way of life that we are going to talk about. So to enable you to prioritize your time and to complete the activities that you have, on a daily basis or even a weekly basis or a monthly basis. You can resort to this 4 quadrants. So you list out the activities, those activities that are most important to you. So this comes out of an awareness, it comes out of an arrangement, and it comes out of an adaptation. So what is this awareness about? Thinking realistically about the time that okay, I am in class, I need to travel. So traveling, commuting again daily takes 4 hours for me, or 2 hours, 2.5 hours, or walking along takes this much time. So depending on the time that you have in your hand, finally I am left with 4 hours or 2 hours. So how do I devote my time? How do I segregate, or how do I segregate my time? So thinking realistically about the time that you have. Understand that it is a precious as well as a limited resource. Time is a precious as well as a limited resource. Understand that. So what are the most important or the urgent activities to be completed? Note it down. So in the second quadrant, you have not urgent activities. Not urgent activities, but they are important. Maybe after you will have to submit. So not urgent means, so one urgent thing is, okay, I'll have to submit, or I have to take a test day after tomorrow. That is the most important or the most urgent thing that is coming up. So priority for that. Along with that, I have a toothache. I need to visit that. So I understand that it is aggravating. Aggravating. So that is also important for me. So my exam is important, or the test which is important. Test is also important, and they are all urgent things which needs to be done. I have to submit an assignment after 2 weeks. That is not urgent, but at the same time it is important for me, because there is a weightage for that. I need to submit it on time. Right? So those activities that are not urgent, but at the same time important for you. In the third quadrant, it is urgent activities, but not important. Something which you can, you will have to go somewhere. You will have to take somebody to that place, or you will, and that is complete reading a book. That is urgent, but at the same time not important for the time being. And the fourth quadrant consists of activities that are not urgent, but not important. Maybe going out, maybe a tour that you have planned during your vacation. So you find that, okay, you are busy with some other work, so you can plan it for some other time appropriately. So not important as well as not urgent. So 3 aspects that makes us work or realize the importance of time is awareness, that is think realistically. Realistically, that is important. Realistic thinking, then designing and organizing. That is arrangement of what are your goals, what are your priorities, what are your plans, what are your schedules. So when I consider planning my time, I need to consider the work that I am engaged in taking classes, the work that I spend with students, the work that I spend counseling, the work that I spend writing or correcting essays. All these needs to be considered. So that those are all aspects of my schedule. Then how many students do I have? So scheduling my time accordingly, and then effective use of time. So similarly, what are the activities that you have in hand? So designing and organizing something. What are your goals? So how much time do you have for semester? When does the examination fall? How many months or how many days do you have for the exam? When do I need to submit the assignments? Even these classes that we are having is been scheduled. So considering the priorities that you have. So similarly, understand your goals, understand the tasks, understand your plans, understand the schedules, and then find the time appropriately. So awareness, arrangement. And the third one is adapting. Monitoring the use of time while performing activities. So you have put maybe you will have to maybe learn, or let's take for example, you don't have a resume for yourself, so you have to prepare a resume for yourself. So how much time do I have? 1 quarter? No. So since I've been told that, okay, I need to have a resume and I should start applying for internships, I should have an immediate one at the earliest. So I have time till August. So how do I start preparing? Divided. So listing out all the things, then getting a right resume template, then finding out, then enlisting all the details or the attributes that you have. Then you feel that, okay, I do not, that is, whatever credentials that I have in the resume are not adequate. So you feel that, okay, one that is something adequate, inadequate compared to maybe your friends. Sometimes it may be poor marks, sometimes it may be lack of extracurricular activities, sometimes it may be volunteerships. So your CV doesn't look good. So it is not that, okay, you color your CV or the format your CV correctly and make it look good. Of course that matters, but that is secondary. So it should have enough details about who you are. It should represent who you are. The CV should reflect who you are. The prospective employer should see you there. Or the prospective employer should be able to visualize who you are by seeing your CV. How? How does that happen? How does that happen? So it is, so when you try to adapt everything. So you plan time accordingly. So if you're planning to, planning to apply to some internship by next month, by September, okay, you need to have a good CV and then give some time for correction also. Show it to some person who can correct it for you, add details for you. Then if you feel that it is inadequate or inadequate, so you feel that is, you may add some courses which are valuable to it. It can be some value added courses, it can be doing an internship, or it can be doing an additional course, it can be helping somebody out, or it can be anything related to or which will that particular job or the task that will be assigned to you can be added to your CV also, which you can think of in the long, because that cannot be possible immediately. So you can think about, having realized that, okay, these are the credentials that are required in my CV, you plan for that also. Maybe you can add that in due course, maybe in another 2 months, right? So you need to have a plan like that. So if I plan for, okay, I need to have a CV tomorrow, that may not be possible because I do not know. I have not listed down the quality, all the aspects that I have. So I need to list out my curricular, that is academic activities, extracurricular activities, then my strength, weaknesses, opportunities, strength, all those things needs to be uh, discussed, or I should know before applying or writing my CV. And what is my objective, career objective? I haven't thought about it so far. So all those things. So maybe you give a gap of, depending on the time that you have in your hand, you give a gap of 1 month or 2 weeks, whatever it is. So that is a realistic. So then you adapt to that format. It will become easy. You plan for it and work towards it. Similarly, what helps you to, or these strategies for effective time management, of course, will help a student also in achieving your goals. Daily plan your day. That is, make a daily planner. What are the activities for the day? What are the activities? Understand the activities for that week. Then, so you have your curriculum, you have your schedules, everything. So based on that, with the backdrop With those things as your backdrop, you can be able to plan your daily day, that is day also. Make a daily planner. What are the activities? Then divide them into four quadrants. So what is important for you, what is urgent for you, what is not important, and spend time accordingly. So when you note it down or when you list down those activities, you'll be able to realize, okay, this is the one which I need to give top priority. This is something which I have time for. Maybe I can wait for another 2 more days and then start working on it. Then declutter your workstation. So wherever you work, your study place maybe. So do you have that habit of note taking? Uh, or so do you take the lecture notes? All those things. So if you do not, as a student, you need to have the habit of note taking. Then declutter your workstation. So it may not be properly. So you may not have a proper place to study even. So find some suitable space where you are free enough, where there is less distractions. Keep your phone away. Whatever the distractors are, keep those things away. Keep those things away, and that is your assignments. If it gets corrected, file them in a proper. So if you're using a PC or if you're using a laptop, then separate those folders and keep it separate, file them properly. Organize your contacts systematically. Then mails also, manage them properly, regularly. Whatever is important for you, your notes or reading material, the problems that you do, the workbooks that you have, the worksheets that you have, all those should be properly placed in folders or in files carefully. Your important documents. So all this will help you to, that is, stay organized. It will help you to stay organized. So that you don't have these things bothering you or distracting you. That's the purpose of it. Then arrange your workspace well to save time. Learn to multitask effectively. See, multitask is something which may not be fruitful always. See, you can listen to music and you can eat, but listening to music and doing a problem, it's rather difficult. Listening to music, eating, and solving a problem, again further difficult. Watching news and eating something and then answering an assignment won't work. So so those activities which you can spare time, or which you know that doesn't require much of that effectiveness or much of that seriousness, maybe you can multitask. But for those aspects which you really require time and focus, that is, you cannot ignore them also. So depending on the task in hand, you can be flexible enough, right? Otherwise, those tasks that require seriousness should be given due importance. So what is more important? So if you have to place the rocks first, it is so if you put the sand first and then if you try to place the rock and pebble, what happens? You'll find that you will not have adequate space for the pebbles even. But if you place the rocks first, okay, which is important for you? So is it the most important tasks first, then the pebbles, that means tasks that needs to be completed, and then the sand. What are the disrupting elements? Sand, maybe sand. Then you pour the sand into the container. It will be able to hold it, right? So the sand gets stuffed into or it moves in between the pebbles and rocks. So those are the distractions. So minor activities. So major activities, or which is the most important, needs to be given due focus. Then the less important ones and the least important ones. So, who should decide? So depending on the tasks in hand, you should be capable to decide, right? So those tasks that are important to you or really urgent for you may not be that urgent for me. So again, it is this ability to, or that awareness, realistically looking into what you need to do. That is most important here. In all these aspects, in all these soft skills aspect, it is the, or if CV preparation is important to me, or developing the soft skills, is it important for me now? Then devote the time for that first. Maybe communication is one aspect. So is communication important for me? What kind of communication? Written or verbal? So understanding that, okay, this is the priority, you organize your tasks, or it is thinking realistically about the tasks in hand. So all these skills, that is awareness, arrangement, and adaptation, is important when you manage your tasks. So it is these awareness skills that is the primary driver. Once you are aware, okay, there will be some thought telling you, okay, this is important, you need to do that, you need to do that, it will be constantly reminding you. So that enables you to remove one important aspect, or which is an obstacle in time management. What is that? The greatest obstacle that we all have is procrastination. We always procrastinate. Why do we procrastinate? So thinking that that is prayer, that is we don't recognize the importance of activities. That is why we procrastinate. Let tomorrow come. Let tomorrow come. Okay, I need to reduce my weight. I need to go to the gym. I need to exercise. I need to do yoga. Let me do it tomorrow. Let me start tomorrow. Let me eat today full. Let eat to my craving and let me start tomorrow. And tomorrow comes, okay, morning, okay, let me start by afternoon. And afternoon again, you have a full lunch, lunch, full stomach lunch, and then, okay, let it be night. So like that, we keep on procrastinating. So that self-awareness or thinking realistically about the tasks or goals in hand helps you to curb down this level or degree of procrastination. So you realize the urgency or importance of things that you have in hand, and then you start working towards it. That is important here. So multitasking, as I told you, so that is, if you're poorly managed, means you'll not be able to devote enough time to all the activities. So what is the time that you spend? Finally, an evaluation, self-evaluation is also important. So these things, strategies for effective sorry, time management, you can so keep your, that is everything is understood. So if it's the phone that is distracting you, you can that is you can, is it the messages or those distractions? Even now when you are in this platform, okay, you'd be looking at these things, but that is so keep away that for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and like gradually increase the time. So is it really important? So what would be a life that maybe a day comes when you cannot use your phone, or when you cannot do away with these things? Think about that, maybe for 5 minutes or 10 minutes like that, and then you will learn how to cope up with or adjust with these kind of situations. Then you can keep your own calendars, you can keep your own deadlines, and keep reminders. So as we have this, so these reminders keep reminding us about the deadlines that we have. So there is a wonderful story, or Brian Tracy, he has written a book, and Eat the Frog. So in that, the best time management strategy, what he says is, Brian Tracy is that to eat the frog. So it is that eat the frog, it has become an idiom which suggests that you need to do the most difficult task, or the something which you hate first. So successful people, what he says is, successful people, that is they don't do everything. They don't put their hands into everything. They do what is most important for them. So what he says is, you cannot eat the, see, in a pond you have tadpoles, you have frogs also in the pond. But yeah, you can start eating with the ugliest one, which is a which is a that is biggest and the ugliest one, which is a frog. So task with that is, start with by tackling the most difficult task. In that way, you can tackle the problem of time management. So this productivity also helps you understand what your values are. So if you haven't thought about it, fine. But start from at least the setting goals. What are the goals? Plan it weekly, then on a daily basis. And see that, monitor also. Maybe at the end of the day, morning when you wake up, you realize that, okay, these are the tasks in hand. Evening when you go to bed, again you realize that, okay, these are the things completed and these are the things which I did not do. So that reminds you. So if that's the priority, you do it that first and start with the next day's activities. And maybe you may not be able to initially, when you start with these things, you may not be able to complete these tasks as you have noted down, but still it helps you to be on track. It reminds you also to be on track. So this daily planning, weekly planning helps a lot. So choose tasks that are difficult and do it at the beginning. Similarly, while learning subjects also, do not start with the easy ones. Take subjects that are most difficult for you and start learning them first, and then move to the two subjects that are that is less difficult. So that will help you to complete your the tasks on time. Another one is breaking your tasks into smaller chunks. These are all practical ways that has been these have been proven, and it has been proven to be more productive. That's why I'm still telling you, break your larger. So you have an assignment. It may be worth carry, that is the assignment, a lengthy one. And the weightage for the assignment is, the marks for the assignment is also more. So divide that into smaller chunks and do it on a daily basis, or depending on the time in hand, so that you'll be completing at least a little by little, rather than doing it you may not time to complete the entire thing together. So maybe as you study or progress in your studies, you may complete those work also. That also helps you to be on track. Helps you to be on track. Similarly, so that is the 4 Ds of time management. So whatever is not required. So here the example used is that of that is how to that is deleting unwanted mails. So that's only an example. Whatever is not required, try to keep it away, put it away. That is not required. So before that, when we think about strategies, build accurate self-awareness about your time management skills. So what is that is what is that is, list down the activities. So if you are not able to progress, you can again seek help. Seeking feedback from others, you have a presentation to make. So this is the first presentation. and you say, and that is, you've been told that it is for 5 minutes. So at the end of the presentation, the teacher may give a feedback, and you yourself can ask your friends about your presentation, how it went on. So a feedback from others would definitely help you. It can be from your peers, it can be from your seniors, it can be from your boss. And so all this helps you to manage your, that is, behavior. And it helps you to improve also. Understand what is important for you. What are your preferences? What are your priorities? What are your priorities? So list down them also. What is the immediate task in hand? What is the most urgent task in hand? Those are the things. So whatever, it can be some skills also. So you don't have the time management skill. That is also, that should, if that is not part of your skill, or that is something which you have not in your self improvement, you may include time management also. You're poor at time managing your time. You're not able to manage your time at all. So if that is if you find that that is important, you can include time management also as part of your skill, which you need to prioritize and develop that awareness awareness thing. And one more thing which I told you was regarding eating the frog, or doing the most difficult activity first, or learning the most difficult subject first. So what happens is, when do you do that? Because if you notice your habits, you'll realize that your energy or your enthusiasm will be at a peak. So understand or realize when you will be able to perform at your peak. Your peak performance. Realize or find out your peak performance time. During that peak performance time, you may, that is, you may set apart these activities for your peak performance time. It can, for some, see, some students, when you're in school, you may some of you would have preferred to wake up early in the morning, early risers. For them, the peak performance time is during the early part of the day. For some others, it would be late night, so they prefer to sleep late. So they prefer to study or learn everything, or do whatever that is, do everything at the end of the day or at midnight. Understand? So for some others, it will be evening. So understand the peak performance time, and then plan your activities by dividing it into smaller chunks. This always works. Please take it from me. If it's a larger task, please try to divide it into smaller tasks, smaller chunks, and try to complete it. Once it is over, you move on to the next one. Once that is over, your next step. So that is, then finally you realize that what appeared to be very large or huge, you were able to manage it on your own. So give a pat on your back, because it is something which you really deserve. See, that is something which we always fail to do. Appreciate yourself for that. So if you're really managing yourself, if you are realistically managing your time, you'll be able to find time, because you are purposefully controlling your time. You know that, okay, time is important for you. You realize that these are the tasks that is most important for me. And it's, as I told you, it's an important resource. It's a crucial resource. See, in India, we do not give enough importance to time. Whereas if you move out of India, for example, the Westerners, they give importance to time a lot. If you are late by 1 minute, they may ask you the reason. And they don't want to they don't want to keep them to be waiting. So you have to be punctual. You have to be on time. Learn to be like that. That is, understand or realize the value of time. Then record all the activities, how much time that you have spent on this. So if you have spent too much, that is okay, I'm doing a problem, and I've spent this much time on that. Record that, and is it really necessary? So the next time you do it, okay, try to reduce the time. right? So that kind of awareness, so purposefully, it's bringing in a kind of awareness in you and then trying to manage that. That is what is required. So you yourself are trying your ways of managing the time. Then how to, that is, assess your time properly. So all this would definitely help you to manage the time. So whatever, finally, that is delegate. So if you feel that okay, there are certain tasks which needs to be done with the help of others, it can be delegated. So some tasks, so, or not all tasks. So if you feel that that is important for you, you can delegate that also. So that is, who feels that, whom you feel who is equally competent to do that work. Then put away or postpone, delegate, decide. So what is important? Do or do important tasks, or the most urgent tasks and important tasks that are essential. Whatever that needs to be focused or right away, most important and urgent tasks can be done at first. Then defer. So it can be those tasks which needs to be postponed or put away, can be changed, or can be postponed to a later point of time. And those that are urgent but not important, you can delegate it to others. And those that are not important at all can be deleted also. So it can be phone calls, it can be maybe replying to some chats, unnecessary chats, whatever is, it's according to your priority and preferences. So you can, so then delegate the work. So you see, at home also you'd have felt that okay, mother delegates your work, father delegates your work, so it gets divided. Okay, you do this work. It's your responsibility. It is your duty, like that. So siblings, they delegate their work among themselves. Similarly, if you, that is in a team, while working in a team also, you can realize the importance of the or advantages of delegation of work, and then work accordingly. So delegation empowers team members and helps getting job done. So it helps your subordinates also. So subordinates also feel important. So they also feel that it is important, that is recognized. Hmm. Then understand what your time, that is time wasters are. Time waster, what is that consume more time? So you've been spending more time for having your lunch or eating out or whiling away with your friends. So if your exam is near, which is more important? Your exam is focusing more on the exams, or working to improve your skills, if you feel that that is more important. So all those will help you to manage the time better. So delegation to a certain extent, then seeking help also helps you to manage your time a lot. Uh, then with proper, so here, so this is about, I purposefully that is put this as my second choice in today's class, because I felt that it is through a better management of your emotions, one can manage your time also. So though time is a commodity, or time is a resource, or it is a tool which is available to us, with proper, I would rather prefer to call it, that is what that decides most on all the important things that we have in hand. So it is necessary to understand the importance of managing emotions and managing time, and then working together, and moving ahead, realizing the importance of time management, as well as managing your emotions and working appropriately. So through proper awareness, through proper adaptation, and through proper understand, that is through proper recognition of one's own abilities, and by arranging the important activities, one is able, definitely will be able to manage the time. So remember the term, it is the example that we had, that is the example of the pebbles, the rocks, and the sand. So try to prioritize activities according to your importance and do not procrastinate. You can procrastinate those activities that are least important to you. In that way, you'll be able to manage time also properly. So with this, I end the session. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. Any questions? So if you have any better ways of managing your time, you can also bring out that, because that will help others too. It will help others to learn from yourself, from your experience. That would be really useful to others too. So if you do not, yes, Kunal, please.
Yeah, they are saying no, ma'am.
Okay. So yeah, I think everybody is oh, in a way that is hurried to leave, in a hurry to leave. So thank you so much for listening. The only thing is that understanding oneself through self-management. Spend more time for yourself. Then by breaking this, this has worked for me. Eating the frog, and it is more trying to do the most difficult work first, and then dividing the work into smaller chunks and doing it bits in small quantities. That also helps. So if you have a larger task, maybe sometimes that is reading. People always say that okay, reading is a good habit, but start with small, maybe reading an article a day, 1 page a day, then two, gradually increase, and like that you can read and you can become a quick reader also. So all these methods which I told you have been tried and tested once with people, and it works. Definitely works. The only thing is that you need to try. So if there are no questions, so keep your questions ready for tomorrow. And because see, one thing is that you do not have questions because these are all intangible skills. I ask you to listen to your emotions. I ask you to write down your emotions. That is quite difficult, right? They are intangible, which cannot be measured actually. But whereas if I ask you to write a story, or if I ask you to write about yourself or introduce yourself in one, describe yourself in one, maybe in 10 sentences, you would have done that. That's the difficulty. So I understand that, and maybe you can start working on yourself, and all these will help you to grow, helps you to realize what your capabilities are, and helps you to channelize your potential. Thank you so much for listening. So tomorrow I expect a few
Ma'am,
questions from you. Yes.
only one student has asked that Abhijit Pramanik, that
Yes,
the
yes,
frog
Abhijit.
strategy was very helpful.
Yes, yes. See, when we have so many tasks, and see, I have to study a lot of portions for my exams. So, Abhijit, thank you for your question. So, understanding. So, if you start with an easy one, easy one means your mind knows that okay, it is easy. You're comfortable with that. But difficult one means trying to understand that understand that is first, that becomes the priority. So all these days you have been postponing because it is most difficult for you. It can be learning a subject, it can be learning something new, it can be doing a sort of problem. See, even when maths is a fearful subject for everybody, right? So even in math there are different areas which are which the student, that is we as children, liked. There are some difficult areas which we, for example, in my case it was this trigonometry, which I hated and did not know anything about it. So those areas that are difficult to you can be taken first as a priority whenever you are free, and that is whenever you find the right time for you. You start working on that. Apply your that is apply your the efforts, or put effort to it, and then you will realize that gradually you are learning that too in that way. So that controls a lot of, that is it saves a lot of time. So initially it requires time, but you are doing it out of your own control, or that is you are trying to manage yourself. As a result, you understand your abilities and you work towards it. So that definitely helps, whatever the task be. So when you list down the tasks for the particular day also, if you start with the important activity, another best one is listening to a class, improving your listening skill. Listening for so students, as I told you, students find it very difficult to concentrate during lectures. Listen to first 3 minutes, then give a sigh, then listening to the next 3 minutes, then make it 5 minutes. Definitely, you take it from me, you will learn, but it should be a control. It is, you have to do it purposefully. You have to track the changes. So once it is done in that way, you definitely you will improve. Hope I was able to answer your question, Abhijit. So thank you for your question. So I expect more questions from others also tomorrow. And with that, we come to the end of today's session. Thank you for your listening. Thank you. And please make use of these, whatever you have, strategies that you have learned in your daily lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for lovely session. And thank you, students. Right now, we are ending up the session for today, and we will meet you tomorrow by 10. And for tomorrow's session, stay tuned. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, student.
Thank you, Kunal. Thank you, students, once again.